Okay, are we good?
Okay, so
Holly?
yeah, we should be able to see your screen now.
Excellent.
So yeah, there you go.
Okay, thank you, Holly, and good afternoon, everyone. A warm welcome to our webinar. As you can see from the mugshot on slide one, I'm Robert Grant, and I'm the Head of Customer Experience at Initor Global. I've been with Initor for about a year, maybe just over a year now, but my career has been in accounting practice for over 30 years now. So I know exactly where some of you guys are coming from when you're thinking about outsourcing work and some of the risks that you may perceive. Over the last 12 months, I've provided webinars for many suppliers, many accountants about the benefits outsourcing can bring to a practice. But when taking questions from accountants and other audiences, one recurring theme was coming up throughout those webinars. And that's some barriers or misconceptions accountants often perceive when they're thinking about outsourcing services. So the theme of today's webinar is how accountants are overcoming those barriers, addressing those misconceptions, and actually outsourcing services effectively. It's just okay. So a little bit about Initor Global. Firstly, we were established in 2013, so been around for over 10 years. We're currently serving over 100 UK accountants, mainly in practice, but also in business. One thing you'll be interested in is around GDPR. We are compliant and we are ISO 27001 accredited as well. Our main base is in Ahmedabad, that's in Gujarat in India. For those of you who know that part of the world, it's about 500 miles northwest of Mumbai, and we have over 100 accountants and other professionals working in our main office. We are growing quickly and we are continually recruiting to meet demand at the moment. We do provide outsourced end-to-end accounting and payroll processes, and other secretarial services are covered as well. Pretty uniquely, we have an on-site training academy, and that supports accountants in their professional studies and also provides the ongoing CPD and other technical expertise that the modern accountant needs. We have very strong QA arrangements through senior accountant and senior manager review across all of our services. So we do strive to get our work right first time, and that makes sure that our clients are satisfied. As you would expect, our accountants are accredited across all major accounting softwares, but we're also comfortable with other niche software and platforms. I'm sure you guys will be aware that some practices have their own bookkeeping software or accounts preparation software. We're happy to work on any platform that our customers bring to us. So let's have a look at some of the context for today's presentation. I'll split this into various slices around investments in technologies, people expectations, recruitment and retention, and macroeconomic factors around sort of market entrance, and more microeconomic factors around sort of capacity and scalability. If we kick off with automation and investment, when it comes to investment in technology, accountants have never seen sort of the pace of change that we are at the moment. But realizing the benefits from that automation and that investment can be a challenge. And that's something that outsourcing can help you achieve. Of course, there are people expectations for remote and hybrid working, and how you free up capacity to allow that can be a challenge. There's also a very hot recruitment market at the moment. We know that larger firms are enticing people away, from more traditional firms with, pretty attractive packages. So dealing with that retention part of the equation is a challenge for many practices, especially, smaller practices, maybe with sort of boutique offerings or niche clients. And of course, there's client expectations for instant feedback, real-time reporting, and specialist advisory services. That can be an additional pressure for any practice, but particularly those that are smaller of firm by nature. And of course, there's always new market entrants to our industry, but increasingly we're seeing those market entrants offering fully online services, software and services combined in a single fee, and that can put pressure on fees as well. And one way of alleviating that pressure is to look at how to reduce your costs, and outsourcing can certainly help with that. And of course, we're all experiencing stretched capacity and they need to scale quickly. Post-pandemic, we've seen many experienced accountants leave the industry altogether. Others have set up on their own, striving for that work-life balance that they were looking for. And other practices have strong growth plans in place at the moment to take advantage of any economic bounce, and they need to scale quickly to support that. So lots of contextual factors to any decision around outsourcing. So what does outsourcing a service actually mean? At its most basic level, it's when a business engages a third party to perform tasks, handle operations, provide staff or services on their behalf. And here at Initor, as I said, we provide all end-to-end processes, but that includes digital bookkeeping, year-end accounts preparation, payroll, company tax preparation and filing, VAT returns, preparation and filing, personal tax, that'll be front of mind for many of you at the moment, and we offer secretarial services as well. So almost all services an accountant provides can be outsourced. So I mentioned some of the barriers and misconceptions that I've come across over the last few months presenting to different audiences. And here are some of the more common ones, and these may resonate with you. It weakens data security. It doesn't support a profit model, it doesn't support the culture of the firm, and it isn't scalable. We're out of control of delivery of the work. If we send it offshore, we don't know what's happening. It provides poor value for money, and only large businesses or large practices can afford it. Staff morale is adversely affected naturally because people feel threatened if some of their day-to-day tasks are being outsourced. And also on the client side, clients have very high expectations about how they contact us, who they speak to, and they won't like their work being outsourced. And also, I also hear that outsourcing can't keep up with technological changes or industry and regulatory trends. I would counter those sort of arguments and say that outsourcing services, in our experiences, can help any size of practice improve its data integrity and security, stabilise its service delivery and eliminate backlogs of work, improve profits and productivity through efficiency gains and also through reduced costs. And it does help build capacity, resilience and scalability. Client experience can be improved through better turnaround times and getting work right first time, as I mentioned earlier. And also it can help with your transformation agenda and help you to manage change. So if I start with the data security sort of part of the presentation, this is front of mind for any accountant nowadays, and that is ensuring compliance with GDPR and data protection policies and procedures. Reputable outsourcers are GDPR compliant and ISO 27001 accredited. When you're thinking about outsourcing a service, ask your outsourcer to provide evidence of that and take testimonials from their existing customers about how data security is preserved. And of course, you will have your own data security protocols. What's really important is that your outsourced provider is integrated with those protocols to make sure that you're all working to a common standard, common ways of reporting, and sort of common outcomes as well. Using cloud-based solutions means that data cannot be downloaded and it's accessed securely, often through your own servers. So you don't need to worry about any services being provided outside of the UK. The data will be preserved. And also, if you can, arrange a site visit to see what security arrangements are in place, particularly around mobile recording devices and CCTV. Certainly Initor in our offices, all of our accountants, they lock their cell phones away when they enter the building, and they only have access to them when they leave. So they don't have recording devices around to take pictures of client data, that sort of thing. And just to round that off, typically, the UK accountant will continue to be the data controller for GDPR purposes, and the outsourced company will be the data processor. So that's important for updating your security protocols to accommodate an outsourced provider. Now, most importantly around service delivery, we're all working to increasingly tight service delivery and turnaround times to match customer expectations. What you should be doing with an outsourced provider is making sure that they are fully in line with your own KPIs and turnaround times, and indeed use that to drive improvement in performance. You will have a flexible resource that you can access throughout the year to manage peaks of work or at specific points in the accounting year, for instance, self-assessment, tax return season that we're in at the moment. So you can turn on that resource to help you with any backlog of work. You will have contracted service delivery and turnaround times and measure performance against those and hold your outsourced provider to account for achievement. And that means regular contact with your account manager and your accountants if you go down the full-time equivalent resource route. So you can measure performance and compare it with your in-house performance as well. I mentioned quality assurance. You will, of course, want to look at the quality of work coming back, but at Initor, we insist on 2 pairs of eyes on every piece of work that's produced, and that means reviewed by a senior accountant or a senior manager. In terms of delivering services to clients, outsource can free up your time to offer more advisory type services that can be higher margin, but you can also widen the scope of services that you offer to your clients. So if you don't offer bookkeeping as an option, or you don't offer VAT return preparation as an option, then you can certainly explore those avenues for additional fees going forwards. And of course, most accountants will come to the outsource table thinking about how they quickly eliminate backlogs of work that have built up over a period of time. So you can eliminate those immediately and also avoid recurrence of that issue going forwards. I mentioned improving profits and productivity. You control the costs. The fees are fixed and they're over a fixed contract period. So when you're setting your own fees for your clients over the next 12 months, you know that those overheads are fixed cost and you can adjust your fee regime accordingly. And of course, technology advances support remote delivery and can maximise that return on investment in the technology I mentioned from the outset of my presentation. When you're considering an outsourced provider, it's always good practice to look at your own internal processes and how those can be streamlined to accommodate the outsourced provider, and how you can improve your document management systems as well, because you will need to transmit data quickly to your outsourced provider, and that can have a benefit internally to your firm as well. And of course, automation is already driving the way accountants talk to and communicate with their clients. We've got AI, we've got chat GPT, we've got chat bots as well, increasingly being introduced to our industry. Outsourcing underpins all of those automated feeds that you can use to nudge your clients to do something like, their final reconciliation, approve a set of accounts, or approve a tax return, that sort of thing. So you can really streamline your processes. I mentioned building capacity, and one of my earlier remarks was around outsourcing is only for larger businesses or larger firms. We have clients of all sizes, from a sole practitioner who we just provide some ad hoc bookkeeping for, right through to audits for larger firms. And indeed, most of the big four, if not all of them now, outsource a large proportion of their audit work to offshore providers, and that works successfully for them. It can be used flexibly to manage peaks of work, especially when deadlines are looming. So when you need capacity the most, the outsourced provider can help you create that capacity to deal with those urgent tasks and urgent work that your client needs completed. It helps you deal with emerging situations. And of course, you have flexibility to agree variations to contracts to eliminate that backlog of work and draw on resources when you need them most. And I've mentioned the additional capacity that can widen the scope of services that you can offer to your clients. Tax specialism, advisory services can be provided at short notice, and also widening those services like payroll, bookkeeping, tax return services as well. Taking all that together, outsourcing is easily scalable, and it can underpin any growth plans you have for the future. I've mentioned the automation of tasks, AI, ChatGPT. That really is changing the way accountants interact with clients. Now, improving the client experience of all that is really important, and you can get to a sort of a common level of communication with your clients by using an outsourced provider. You do improve your service delivery, so the client experience is improved and client expectations are met, or even exceeded in terms of the quality of work if it's right first time and turn around quickly. That means it drives up quality standards from their point of view. And of course, the UK accountant will always be the key contact point for the relationship. You will want to spend your time wisely on onboarding new clients, building that relationship, understanding your clients' businesses, and of course, outsourcing can create that capacity to enable you to spend the quality time you need to with your clients. So you understand the client's business and the services they need today and for the future. And most providers, certainly Initor Global has a UK HQ with customer experience professionals available to discuss with you any concerns you have about the work, how it's progressing, or how they can help you with additional services. I mentioned transformation and change management. When you carry out that due diligence on your outsourced supplier, you need to think about the suitability and cultural fit with your business. Price should not be your only driver. You need to think about, how you interact with the outsourced provider, how comfortable your people are with the outsourced provider. So those sort of softer considerations are just as important as the hard considerations around price. Always invest time to integrate the outsourced supplier into your business so that they're held to account for the same KPIs and the same performance measures that your internal accountants are. Make it clear that outsourcing is not a threat to your people. It's an essential business solution, and it's part of your overall delivery and operating framework. And updating your internal processes to accommodate the outsourced provider, measure their performance, compare it to the internal performance, does ensure transparency around how that work is delivered, and it reduces the scope for people to feel threatened by the work produced outside of the organisation. And of course, it increases resilience where you have workforce matters to resolve. We all have to react quickly to emerging situations when staff are attracted elsewhere. And it also helps you avoid some expensive recruitment mistakes. Having the wrong person in place for a number of months is just as bad as not having someone in place at all. So it can increase your resilience when you have those matters to resolve. And I think, again, taking all that together, in my experience, when I was working in practice, I used outsourced services heavily, and it can benefit staff morale by contracting out recurring tasks. People have high expectations when they're trainee accountants about the type of work they'll be carrying out, and it does support people development. So just some concluding remarks about outsourcing. In my experience, data security is assured through effective online arrangements. Systems of controls ensure that. It undoubtedly helps accountants increase efficiencies through examining their systems and processes, and it does help reduce costs, with the cost of an outsourced resource typically being 50% less than a UK resource. And that in turn can underpin the effective pricing of your services when you have a fixed overhead to work with. It also adds value to your business by enabling accountants to respond quickly to emerging situations. And that means backlog of work, maybe a surge in new clients, making sure you have the quality time to invest in that. And of course, recurring tasks are removed from day-to-day operations, such as bookkeeping, VAT returns, payroll, and that allows accountants and others to focus on clients and their future development. Future growth plans should always consider outsourcing as an option, and it can help you scale. You may not be looking to outsource even in the next 12 months, but looking ahead, think about when you can integrate it into your business as part of your future planning. And of course, it should always be integrated into your delivery framework, and it can enhance it for the reasons that I've set out. So our offering to AVA members, uniquely, we offer a free trial, no obligation, of our services, so you can have 15 hours of an accountant's time. We offer you a 10% discount on your first year of contract fees, and you can commission services on an ad hoc hourly basis, half-time equivalent, who will be part of your team, or a full-time equivalent basis as well. And we also ensure you have a named relationship manager as your key point of contact. So thank you for listening. If you'd like to arrange an informal discussion or a more detailed discussion about how we can help you, contact me directly. That's my email address, or on the Hello Initor email address as well. You can visit our website. And those of you who prefer more traditional ways of communication, you can also telephone us. And if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, just look me up. My name's Robert Grant, and Ashley is going to tell you how you can maximise that approach to LinkedIn. So I'll stop there. I'm happy to take any questions. Holly, I'll stop sharing my screen now and pass back to you. So thanks for listening.
Thank you very much, Robert. That was fantastic. Very thorough presentation there, I thought. So
Thank you.
Not sure if anyone will have questions following that, but if anyone does have any questions, you can just pop them into the Q&A or into the chat box now. I'll just give you a minute to do that because I know it takes a little while to type. So yeah, just see if there's any questions coming in. I mean, I think I do talk to a lot of accountants, and I think there is still kind of a fear around outsourcing based around a lot of those concerns that you mentioned at the beginning of your presentation. So hopefully that will have kind of answered any questions or concerns that people have. And yeah, if anyone wants to get in touch with Robert, then I'll put his contact details in the follow-up email just in case you didn't catch them at the end of the presentation there. Okay, so I've got one question has come in, I think. Oh yeah, from Basil. How does it help the culture of the firm?
Yeah, I mentioned cultural fit a few times. When you talk to a number of suppliers, you will get a feel for how they fit with your own culture, and the culture you're striving to achieve. Now, using an outsourcer creates capacity and it helps you scale. So when you do that, you create a better working environment for your people. That work-life balance aspiration can be met more regularly, more systematically as well. So I think, yeah, outsourcing certainly helps with those cultural aspirations that we have nowadays. And of course, throughout the pandemic, accountants were working, extremely hard, working remotely and often difficult circumstances. But some accountants are quite comfortable with that sort of hybrid approach to working, and outsourcing can certainly help you have the infrastructure, the systems, the processes, the IT infrastructure to support that as well.
Okay, thank you. I hope that answers your question, Basil. Yeah, great.